Thank you. 2 months ago, in July 31st, 2015, 2 months before what is happening now in Jerusalem, a Palestinian family of 4 has been burned while asleep in their home in Doma village in occupied West Bank. Riham, aged 26, her husband Saad, 29, and their toddler, 18 months Ali, have all died because of burns sustained during that attack. That attack was carried by an arson attack by illegal Jewish settlers at this family during night. The only survivor of this crime is their son Ahmed, 4 years, now orphaned because of this heinous act. 7 weeks after that crime, 18 years old Hadil Hashlamoun was gunned down, killed at a checkpoint in Al-Khalil, Hebron. A series of photos of her suggesting, in the words of Amnesty International, that she was executed by Israeli soldier and left to bleed till death. The tragedy of the Wabshi family and Al-Hashlamoun serves as a shocking example of the destructive nature of racism and extremism that Palestinians face in their daily life. The question that raised here, are these crimes such mere incidents carried by angry individuals? Was there anyone held accountable for these attacks? Unfortunately, the answer to these 2 questions is no. The Israeli government has failed to hold anyone accountable, not only in the Wabshi case or Hashlamoun case, but in more than 90% of the cases involving soldiers and settlers killing of Palestinians unlawfully, as the human rights reports indicate. Even before the eruption of these protests, there has been 27 people killed between January 2015 and September 2015. That's an average of 3 Palestinians every month. That's an average of 1 Palestinian every 10 days. Did we ever hear about this violence in our reports, news reports? Did we watch them in our screen? Did any of the world leaders or diplomats run to the region, as it's happening now, to try to investigate this senseless Israeli racist violence against Palestinians? Unfortunately not. They are only interested in reporting and rushing to the area. Only of the victims are Israelis. On October 1st, 2015, desperate Palestinians burst into the streets protesting a racist system allowing settlers mobs to attack properties, lands, holy sites, and persons of Palestinians. They went to protest, demanding an end to the Israeli-imposed restriction on Al-Aqsa Mosque and other restriction that makes the Palestinian life piece of hell. They went to express their anger about these atrocities. It was a stark expression of anger that no action has been taken against the criminal who perpetuated the horrific burning or the countless crimes that preceded and followed the Wabshi and the Hashlamoun crimes. They want to protest the Israeli continuous attempt to conceal this criminal identity and tacitly support settlers' action, and that the world is uninterested in Palestinian victims. Looking into the events since October 1st, or actually since the beginning of the Palestinian ordeal 7 decades ago, it's so easy to notice the pattern. Little has changed in Israel's colonial endeavors, and its propensity for violence remains bound by racist discourse. Also, little has changed in the mainstream media coverage. Media reporting of the event during October has been consistently one-sided, portraying the occupier solely as a victim whose existence are under attack, and therefore they respond to defend themselves from those barbarian Palestinians. Palestinians initiate violence, their leaders incite for violence, the mothers send their children to die, and when they die, they celebrate this death. The context of the conflict is always missing and rarely mentioned. And when it is there, it's the Israeli discourse. The story now is that on October 1st, Palestinians suddenly, out of the blue, started to attack Israelis using knife. Israeli arms and settlers respond and kill perpetrators of this violence. In self-defense, who won't do in such situation? The media wants us to report or wants us to believe. While some Palestinians did carry knives and attack Israeli soldiers and illegal settlers out of despair, evidences by human rights organizations, witnesses, videos and the news shows wide random of execution, stabbing. Sunglasses of Isra Abed, 29 years old, a mother of 3 and a student of engineering, genetic engineering, has been gunned down because her sunglasses posed a threat to Israeli soldiers. A video taken of the crime shows a terrific face of the woman standing, long moment, standing in a bus station before falling to the ground, circulated by soldiers and police. Fadi Allon, 19-year-old, with no sunglasses, but a few money in his pocket. He went after performing the prayer to buy bread in his neighborhood in Jerusalem. This is what he used to do over the past 10 years of his life. What happened? He was chased by a group of settler mobs, chanting or asking for, or trying to, they chased him and they tried to, they chased him and they tried baying for his blood, just to put it in the simple words. Fadi ran and he tried to seek protection of a police car that happened to approach the area at that point of time. And the mobs still say, kill him. He stabbed a settler. And what happened? The Israelis stood and Fadi was standing in the corner, posing no threat of whatsoever to the Israeli soldier. And they killed him, not with one shot, but more. And after they killed, they asked, did he stab anyone? They said no. This is all recorded in a video. That's what happened. It is this policy of shoot to kill. It is this policy, shoot and then question, that made Palestinians burst into the streets to try to express their anger against what's happening to them and against all these crimes. All of these attacks are accompanied by grave violations of human rights. A grisly video shows Ahmed Manasra, 13 years old, is lying on the ground bleeding from multiple gunshots once and struggling, cry to help, while the settlers and the army are around him. They are shouting in a very bad language, die, die. No one tried to offer to the 13 years old child any help or give him any first aid. They shout in both languages, Arabic and Hebrew, to make sure that the boy hears their voices before he dies. Last Wednesday, a veteran anti-occupation activist and medical doctor Hashim Al-Azza died after inhaling tear gas after soldiers refused him medical attention at a protest in Hebron. He was a peace activist and spent his life refusing to give in for the occupation. Close to 60 Palestinians has died now, as Nada mentioned, since October 1st, and an estimated 5,000 Palestinians have been injured, including 55 journalists, many from the use of tear gas, rubber-coated steel bullets, and live rounds of bullets by Israeli security forces at the protests. And still, we are told that the occupation are the victims. This is the reason that we are here today, to show our support to Palestinians, the victims of this brutal occupation, the only of its kind in the 21st century. This demo is a reminder of the power we have when we come together and we work together. It is this power which Palestinians harness every day that will ultimately help in ending the occupation. In moments of sadness and anger, when we see people being killed for doing nothing more than standing steadfast on their land and defending their rights, we can remember our collective power to change the situation one step at a time. This is our obligation, and this is our responsibility as a free citizen. We can take action in different fronts to support Palestinians. Our gathering today is an important action that convey a message to our new elected leadership, whom we hope that they stand for Canada values and Canada obligation towards peace, and not to follow the disastrous steps of Harper government. And I thank you all for taking the time of your day to come to support Palestinians. Media is another front. Complain when you see the bias. Please do that. Sometimes we underestimate our efforts to do that. But it is during or through this way, we could show solidarity to Palestinian. The BBC, notorious known for its bias towards Palestinian case, their diplomatic editor 2 weeks ago has been reporting from Jerusalem and said it's the capital of Israel. Thousands of emails has been sent to the BBC saying that this is wrong, and the next day they apologized. We have to act. This bias has to end, and this is our responsibility. So do please complain and write when you feel this bias. Write to your member of parliament. This is another way how you can help, and tell them for tension to be reduced. It is the occupation senseless violence that needs to end. It is the culture of impunity allowing Israelis to kill Palestinians and go scot-free that should cease. Tell them that there is no chance for stability until Israel's systematic crimes are brought to an end. Palestinian generation born under occupation and those survivors of ethnic cleansing must be offered honest hope. Reducing tension requires restoring dignity and ending occupation and giving back rights. Thank you very much for coming today to this demo, and thank you very much for everything you do and will do to get us closer to justice. Thanks.